And I didn't go for marble because also I don't know if I should be saying this here. And all the more for our first restaurant order, I wanted everything to be perfect, right? And I was there when we packed it, I was there till the T, like till it dispatched. And you won't believe it, 50% of that order broke in transit. Even as a designer, sometimes I have an idea and I know that the other person is just not able to get it. So how can I get better at showing them that vision so that they can align? And actually that was the first product under Ware, which no one really knows, but it failed. Because I don't think it failed so much as I realized that, I don't have the skill set to bring that product to market. But I realized that what I do have is the skill to develop product. And that's where my strength really lies. So I think I was in that zone where I wanted to really do social impact product design, but I realized that it's too early in life. As a designer, I'm not known, I don't have any credibility. Why would I get, sure, I got lucky, so I got backed by UNICEF and all of these big James Dyson competition. And I learned so many things in that pursuit of trying to make my product work. I learned how to approach people. I learned how to be okay with not knowing the right answer.
Today we have with us Yogita Agarwal, product designer and founder of design-led dinnerware brand Ware Innovations. Let's get into it with about all things design and innovation with Yogita. Thank you so much for coming and welcome to our show.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Of course, it's gonna be great. And now that we've beat Mumbai traffic, let's get to it.
Yes.
So I actually want to start with slightly a question which is dated back maybe a few decades ago. Your family history is in marble, y'all are deeply rooted in marble, but you chose to start your brand with ceramics. How did that happen? What inspired you, and how come that drastic shift?
So actually, when I started Ware, I had just quit my previous startup, and there I was working with I was trying to create a soap. So I was working with chemical engineers. It was very technical. I didn't know the material to make the end product so well, right? So I had to do a lot of learning. And when I exited that startup, I wanted to start something the next day. So I was already working. I had worked a lot with ceramic in college. And it was just a material that really allowed me to unwind. And I just had a lot of fun exploring different techniques at the time. So I think that was something I used to do on Sundays. And ceramic, working with ceramic was like a retirement project in my head, right? But I that was the first thing I thought of working with when I shifted out of something where I was working so hard. I wanted it to be a little easier on me. So I chose a material that I was very familiar with. And I didn't go for marble because also I don't know if I should be saying this here, but I didn't want to start off by working with my family,
I get that.
I wanted a lot of freedom and independence in making my design choices. So I chose something that they are a little unfamiliar with so that I could, step in and make my own mistakes and learn from there.
I've found in so many creative entrepreneurs that they want to first break free of the mold that was set out for them, and then somehow they find their roots back to, their family and everything. But yeah, to begin with, they just want to, detach from all the expectations that come with entrepreneurship, especially family entrepreneurship. So as a designer, what is it that drew you specifically towards this category of, dinnerware and cookware, tableware, when there's so much out there, right? From fashion to, sculpture to fine art to just, basically the whole world is your canvas. So what was it about this category that spoke to you?
So what I really enjoy about working with tableware is that, the pieces can be sculptural, but they do solve a function and they become a part of people's everyday life. And a lot of ware is, you see, there is form and function in it. And as a designer, I feel like I have this need to, we are just trained to problem solve. So it gives me that comfort zone where I'm making something that will be used and I can think, I have some constraints. while it also gives me that creative freedom. So if you notice with Ware, like if I have a restriction between like making the most practical cup and maybe compromising on the practicality a little bit to just make it more fun, I will deviate and I will make it more fun, but it will still work as a cup.
Yeah.
And I think for me it's really important that like I want people to interact with my creations.
Yeah.
And that's exactly where tableware does all of these things so well, right? Like it's one thing to have your product out there, another thing to have it in someone's hands, being a part of the most intimate time of their days, like their mornings, like there are so many memories built around this product. It's so central to your life. And I don't know, that thought just makes me really happy that, when you're celebrating a big milestone, you have Ware on the table, and it's a very big part of that celebration. So I think that's what makes tableware really exciting for me. And also, I think in fashion, like things move a lot faster, right? Like you get bored of stuff a lot sooner, and you evolve and your tastes evolve. But with crockery, I feel like it's so beautiful how it like gets passed down sometimes, and it's just such a like precious thing in your home. I wish that Ware is not precious and people use it every single day. But either ways, it has this like really nice place in people's home that I feel like makes it a very special category for me. And I know this is a very emotional response. It wasn't like based on market research or any of that, but that's just, what made me choose this to start off.
But that's beautiful, because as you were saying it, I could resonate so much. I know so many people with like just an insane amount of crockery collections, and I actually know of someone who recently moved from the States to India, and she spent some, I think, $20,000 on crockery alone, and she wanted to ensure that everything is shipped very carefully, packaged and brought, because that much. That is how much her crockery collection meant to her.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, definitely you don't think about really how much it actually impacts, even the smallest party that or you're having, or even just a very big soiree. It's always at the center of things,
Right.
and yet somehow people don't talk about it enough. That's very, very fascinating.
And forget the party, right? Even that intimate moment, you're just having breakfast alone.
Yeah.
And if you give yourself that little treat of serving it on a nice plate, I think it makes me so happy, honestly. Sometimes when I'm eating my breakfast alone and I put my poha on my plate and it looks beautiful, I feel really happy. As a designer, I think I like things to look pretty, so
Absolutely. All the aesthetic pictures that we take at cute cafes, I think 90% of it is just like the dinnerware or the crockery. Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. What was it that you studied in college?
I actually studied product design.
Okay.
And as part of product design, you essentially learn a lot of skills that teach you how things are made, and that thing could be anything, right? Because product design is all about like problem solving through design, and imagining objects in physical spaces. So that's why I jumped like between a lot of very different product categories. I learned how to make shoes and jewelry and electronic devices, and then after college I actually got into soap, because it's not about what you're making, but it's about what needs to be made to address a need.
Yeah.
So that's what I studied, and I loved my design education. I think it just taught me how to think, and then once you learn how to like think and how to learn, you can kind of apply that to any aspect of life, right? So it's not like I studied business,
Yeah.
but I think the product design approach was quite helpful in even learning how to run a good business,
Yeah.
sort of like a design project.
And it's a very empathetic field of study where you really put yourself in the customer's shoes and think of the product that they want rather than the product that you want to create. Is my experience with it.
I think it has to be a balance, at least for me. I kind of try and make it a balance between both.
Yeah.
Like, what do they want, and what do you envision for them that maybe they don't see? So, can you because a lot of times people think they know what they want, but
Yes.
you have like, even as a designer, sometimes I have an idea and I know that the other person is just not able to get it. So how can I get better at showing them that vision so that they can align,
Yeah.
Because if you go to ask a customer that, what kind of a plate you want, you're going to end up with everything that's already out there, right? Because they've seen that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what if you show them your vision more clearly and they are able to be like, okay, maybe this is what I want, right?
Definitely, it's always meeting them halfway, and
Yeah.
you know, I don't know, inching forward and like innovating just enough to get people on board.
Yeah, just enough is also key. You can't go like completely wild.
And you studied in New York at Parsons Design School.
Yeah.
So just what did New York as a city bring to like do to you as a designer? How did it inspire you, and or how did it discourage you? I don't know. What was it like?
I think New York played a really big role in shaping me as a designer. And that's also for me personally, it was like my first time being away from home. It was very unexpected for my whole family that I would move to New York. So I really took that as like a huge opportunity to explore. And I think if you're in that zone where you want to explore and learn, like New York is, it is that energy, right?
Yeah.
No one's judging you.
Yeah.
Everyone's moving too fast to like bother to look left, right? So I think that the city really encourages, and if you go to different boroughs, it has such a different vibe. So you can literally be anyone you want, and you can also just keep switching between that, right?
Yeah.
It's not a very judgmental space. That being said, I feel like people come to New York with like really big dreams and hopes. So it's a very conducive environment to like experiment and learn. And I think even Parsons at the time, like all my teachers, I got really lucky with my professors. Like they always pushed you to like get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Growing up in school, it was always about having the right answer, and that let you do an A.
Yeah.
And here it was like, I remember having this conversation about my thesis project with my professor. And I had one project that was like at a 90% mark. It was almost done. It had already won an award. And I could have taken that forward and refined it, for a sure A for my thesis project. And the other one that I had was this like device that you can wear and walk and it generates electricity. So I'm not an engineer, but so you can imagine the number of unknowns in that project, right?
Right.
And that teacher sat me down and he said, Yogita, if you do the project A, which was like a pair of flip-flops that I had designed, sure, it'll be a great project. I can see it. If you do project B, you might end up in an absolute disaster and maybe everything will fail. But I assure you, I won't fail you. That's what he told me. And he was like, I think this will be more fun. And I don't know why I took that advice and I went for this. And I think he was right. He showed me the reality. He's like, yeah, there's an 80% chance that you might just end up with a product that doesn't even work. But what's the point if you don't even try, And I learned so many things in that pursuit of trying to make my product work. I learned how to approach people. I learned how to be okay with not knowing the right answer, I learned how to walk into a room with like these physics nerds and like tell them my design vision and like watch them judge me and be okay with that as long as I was arriving at an answer and I was moving one step ahead. And I think that learning curve has given me all the skills I actually needed to start my business, right? Because it's all about like being okay with being the dumbest person in the room, being okay with asking the questions that will take you from point A to point B, and being okay with like taking that risk of, doing something out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, absolutely. And so much of what you said earlier is like now adding up, as in like the roots of, you being so flexible or experimental early on in your career.
Yeah.
The things you were saying about the New York boroughs, it kind of like ties together how New York has so many facets to its personality, and maybe that inspired you to experiment around in the start of your career.
Yeah.
And the kind of free thinking, that the leeway that you were given, just create, imagine, design, and don't limit yourself just because you're getting a certain kind of education. That doesn't mean that you need to be limited to it. You can just
you can always push yourself to be to go as far as you want to go. And I think that Parsons really supported that spirit. That project did really well. I won a lot of awards. I got like the capstone prize, which none of it was expected. Honestly, for me, I think I was also so hungry to learn, and my family was so against me moving that, just being at Parsons was like a blessing. So like grades, everything was like the last priority. It was like, can I learn and get whatever I can out of this education? And I think, sometimes your restrictions, like the fact that people aren't with you on one side,
Yeah.
actually ends up helping you in the long run, right? Because I end up focusing on the right thing.
Yeah.
And the grades kind of like worked out, in my favor. But I had fun along the way. I wasn't stressed.
And I think that's the ultimate thing that any creator or any creative person could ask for, just the joy of creating and producing something new and feeling it every step of the way, and having an environment which is encouraging
Conducive.
you, yeah, in that direction, definitely.
Yeah.
So what was it like leaving New York?
Oh my God. I think when I moved there for the first 6 months, I was like, what have I done? Because the city was like so fast. Like Bombay is fast, but New York is like double of Bombay.
It's on
right?
steroids. Bombay on steroids, yeah.
It's like you're always running. But in a way, like when you're in that phase of life, that speed is great because that means when you fall down. I remember I once physically fell down because I was running to college, and I think more than hurt, I was embarrassed that I fell down on the road.
Yeah.
And I remember someone just helped me get up, and like another person just like dusted off my, like random people on the road, and no one like stopped to laugh or something, like we just moved on.
Yeah.
So I think that spirit, where you like move so quickly and you just move on is like the spirit of New York.
Of course, yeah.
And I think when I moved to Bombay, I was a little, I think for one whole year, I was a little disappointed. I was like, shit, what have I done? Because it had a great, like a very good learning environment, New York. Everyone had a very figured out attitude.
Yeah.
Also, I think, things are a lot more structured in America at this point, at that point at least. Like,
Yeah.
in terms of, sourcing materials, everything is a lot more organized. Like, you can buy good quality clay online
Definitely.
and expect the same thing to come back every time you want to take a production batch. But these things are not so organized in India. So I thought, why did I take this tough route? But I knew I wanted to set up something here. And I was very sure that, the skill set and like the actual knowledge that we have is really incredible. It's just that you have to put in that endeavor to get to it, to tap into that talent.
Yeah.
And to not lose your, like, for example, I believe that, if you take India's talent and like skills and all of that stuff, right, our knowledge, our craft, and then you bring in their discipline and systems, right, because those guys have like amazing discipline and systems because they don't have so many people. And if you're able to find a middle ground between that, like, I think some incredible work can happen that definitely deserves a global stage.
As someone who's also studied there, I'd also like to add apart from discipline and systems, a couple of other things that we can pick up from the US specifically is just how they market and brand themselves and how research oriented they are. Like everything is so data driven, and sometimes we kind of work on arbitrary hunches, but over there everything has to be backed with data, and everything is so well positioned and well packaged that you can't help but try something or consume something.
Yeah, I think that aspect as well, like the branding and the packaging, I feel like that also comes from their need that they don't have so many people to over explain things, right? So they let the product do the job by communicating it so well. And I feel like, definitely India is learning from it for sure. I feel, we learn really quickly and, we catch up really fast if we just decide that we want to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, no, we're definitely getting there. I
Yeah.
think it's just a matter of time.
Definitely.
So, tell us about the birth of Ware. We've kind of briefly touched upon that, you had many eclectic experiences working across categories, and, before starting Ware, you were in soap. So, I'm so sorry.
It's okay, that was what it was.
Yeah. So how did that category shift happen? How did the idea of Ware come into existence, and what did Ware start as?
So, where actually I incorporated the company much sooner than we actually introduced our first product line. And I named it Ware Innovations because the word Ware means like a product or an object. And innovation is anything that is better than yesterday. It just happened so that we got into ceramic ware, but I wanted it to be like an open-ended name for the studio so that we could create any categories of products moving forward. And the goal would always be to like make something that's a little bit better than what's out there, something more playful, or like a different approach to like an everyday product or an object. How I started, so I'd incorporated the company, and that thesis project that I was doing in school, which was this device, I'd called it Joule. It was like a device that you could wear and walk, and as you walked, it generated electricity. So the idea was to like help bring light to like rural off-grid villages. And I designed the device, I had the proof of concept, I made a working prototype, and I got funded during college by like a bunch of different awards and stuff. So I thought that I'll just take that funding as like seed capital and, roll out that product. And actually that was the first product under Ware, which no one really knows, but it failed. Because I don't think it failed so much as I realized that, I don't have the skill set to bring that product to market. Like I hired engineers from IIT, and I was working with them using the funding and all of that. But I didn't know how to like direct them. I did not know how to like manufacture and actually, like I knew the technicalities of how things are made, but I did not know how to like set up a whole production line to manufacture this device that has so many different parts, put it together, set up the distribution network, So it was like a reality check, I would say, in a good way. Like I just realized that, okay, you know what, this is just too tough for someone straight out of college. And it's a little unreal. Like if I was backed by like a really big organization, it makes sense for someone who has a network and would know how to do this, right?
Yeah.
And I did not want to build a business that constantly needed funding from outside. So I pulled the plug on that, and I was simultaneously working on actually three things. One was this. The second was this soap project, Soap Pen, with my friends who were in New York. I was heading the product development in India. So I was kind of doing the tests in like the Chemical Institute and ICT, it's called, and I was working with chemical engineers there to develop the soap. So there was like 60 kilos of soap in my house at one point. And parallelly, on the weekends, I used to work at one of my friend's factories where he was letting me do trials on ceramic slip casting. Because I couldn't find the right, I didn't have a product idea in mind. I was just like, let me try, let's see what happens. Like, can we do slip casting in India? Can I do it in a hands-on way, the way I was doing it in college? Can that be production friendly? So I think after 2 years of working on Soap Pen and, actually trying to get the product to market and build it, and again, I faced the same roadblock. I realized that, this product needs to, because it's social impact, it needs a lot of funding to reach the right people. And, I don't have that network to do that distribution bit, right? And to have the kind of impact that I really wanted to have. But I realized that what I do have is the skill to develop product. And that's where my strength really lies. So I think I was in that zone where I wanted to really do social impact product design, but I realized that it's too early in life. As a designer, I'm not known, I don't have any credibility. Why would I get, like, sure, I got lucky, so I got backed by like UNICEF and all of these like big James Dyson Foundation and stuff like that, but I needed more than just money to like get this done. So I realized that fine, we just take off with my retirement plan, which was to set up like a product design studio, which would make ceramic ware, functional everyday ceramic, not saving any lives or anything. But I would bring my skill to the table and build a profitable business. And then eventually, I think as I build my credibility as a designer and, I'm able to actually support other designers and, have all of that. This is the dream plan. I've never really said it out loud in public, but, as Ware Innovations the more settled your business is, the more innovative you can actually be.
Definitely.
Right? So I look at Ware as something I do for a really long time. So maybe like 10 years down the line, we can actually start building on social impact products and projects and actually have that credibility that will make someone want to, back me up and get me to do that. So right now, Ware is focused on, a space where it's not so price driven, I would say, where in between, like, we're a product that you desire. We're not a product that you actually need. It's something you want. And I think that gives us a lot of room to be creative, to experiment with materials, to really hone our skills as a product designer and, create something unique. So that's how Ware came about.
I love that you failed forward and failed fast, because I think that's what kind of sets apart most successful founders is that aversion to failing, getting over it, getting over yourself, dusting yourself off,
Yeah.
like you learned in New York, and then
Yeah.
just moving on with the next best thing that's available to you.
Yeah, actually, you know what? In hindsight, it feels like a blessing.
Yeah.
When I was in that moment, I felt like such a loser. I felt like, oh my God, I gave up on one thing, I gave up on the second thing. And, you know, you feel like it's such a big deal. But now when I look back, I was like 21. And
Yeah.
I'd already moved on from two things, you know. And that was such a great opportunity to have the ability to have done so much by 21. And when I started Ware, it was so much easier. Like in a month, I was able to set up our online channel, you know, get product out. Like I knew how to do a lot of things
Yeah.
that I might have not known if I hadn't had these failed attempts.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, because of your previous attempts at entrepreneurship, were you kind of grappling with uncertainty around, oh my God, you know, am I doing the right thing this time around? Should I just join some other company? Will this work? Will this not work? What were the conversations in your head?
Oh my God, all of those. I remember thinking that, you know, maybe I just need a lot more work experience and maybe I should work for some experienced designer before I start out my own thing. But also, I think years where the environment kicks in. So I come from a business family.
Yeah.
And my dad and my uncle, I'm just really lucky to be born, you know, into a family that is so open. I remember I went to my uncle when I was going to leave Sopen and I was in tears and I was like, you know, he's going to judge me, he's going to think I'm a loser, he's going to be like, get a job. And I just remember telling him that, you know, I'm leaving this. He's like, theek hai, so what's next? And he's like, theek hai na, just move on, let's do something. What are you going to do now? What are you going to make now? You know, that attitude was so amazing because I've seen, like, you know, other people, I've seen friends who would not have, like, this was like instant support
Yeah.
after failure. I mean, where do you get that, right? So I think I just got really lucky. I don't think it was me and like my grit or anything. I think it was my dad and my uncle being so nonchalant. Like they were like, I don't know if that's the right word, but they were like, yeah, this too happens, right? Like you're gonna fail. Like let's move on. Let's do the next thing.
Yeah.
So
Maybe as entrepreneurs, they just get it that you try some things and you fail at a few, but like what works really sticks.
yeah, he was like, theek hai, you know, like just clean up and get going. Like don't cry over this.
Yeah.
And actually, that was such a good learning because, you know, it's very easy to get stuck in
Oh.
a cycle of, oh, I did this wrong, so now I'll be wrong at it again.
Yeah.
But that's not true at all. Like, I have been bad at something 10 times, and the 11th time, I have actually been really good at it.
Yeah. They really help you evolve past the identity that, you know, you kind of were attaching yourself to this identity of like, oh, I'm a failure. But they're like,
Yeah.
no, you're more than that.
Yeah.
You're, you know,
You're a trier.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, you're perseverant. You can look at it either way, right? You can
Correct.
look at, oh, she just jumped ship, which my mom told me. She's like, Yogs, why do you keep jumping so much? And my dad looked at it like, you're not jumping, you're trying a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think it was nice to have both of them, you know, have this mixed opinion. So I was not treating it casually, thanks to my mom's opinion of me being too jumpy. But I was, you know, being positive. Like I was trying to give my 100% every time I tried something new. So
That's beautiful. So now that you're, you know, producing industrial level ceramics, do you still sit behind the pottery wheel sometimes just as a hobby?
so we don't have a pottery wheel at the studio. That was the first constraint.
Okay.
And I know that sounds like insane,
Yeah.
but I love being on the pottery wheel, and I knew that if I did that, I would restrict myself to what can be done through that. So I just did not get the conventional ceramic tools to the studio.
Oh.
So that's why we experiment with a lot of different shapes.
Right.
And to answer your question, I do spend a lot of the time prototyping. So it's a very product design meets ceramicist approach.
Got it.
Where the first leg of the process is very product design, you know. So I work very hands-on. I try to streamline everything else at Ware so that 90% of my time, I mean, that's the dream. Right now, I would say like 40 to 30% of my time goes into just the design ideation bit.
Yeah.
And I work very hands-on with the design team. And also, I build a lot. with my, that's just the easiest way for me to think and come up with new ideas.
So the time you are behind the wheel, yeah, I'm sure it's like a brainstorming session with yourself.
Yeah.
I've dabbled into pottery a little bit myself, and I remember it feeling very philosophical, like
Yeah.
how you mold the clay, how you center it, and then how it takes shape. It's very, I don't know, epiphany inducing.
Yeah.
Is that like the same experience for you still?
Yeah, so even though I don't work on the wheel per se, which is very meditative,
Yeah.
like the experience of just building something, like,
Yeah.
and my team says this all the time, that every time I sit to prototype, I actually start humming. And it just happens, because I'm in that zone where I'm really like present. Even if I'm just making a cube, like I'm just really present, and that's like the happiest time of my day. And that's where, like, and when you're in that zone, I feel like that's where you connect with your true self, and like ideas start flowing.
Definitely.
That's why I'm a lot about, like, even though we do use 3D printing and other methods of prototyping, I love building things with my hands and like not having any technology around, because that's where I feel like ideas really like start building up and taking shape.
What was it like 3D printing your first prototype ever? Did you have this like childlike sense of wonder of, oh my God, I created this, I birthed this?
Yeah, definitely. Even now, I mean, even like every stage of the product design process where our product takes shape
Yeah.
I feel like a kid, and I'm not able to contain my excitement. I am always excited. Like when we open the 3D printer, I'm waiting to see that model. And, it's like I'm almost rushing towards it. So, yeah, it's definitely, I think, just for a designer, that moment where this vague thing becomes a thing is so exciting. So, yeah, I love it. It's still the same.
Yeah, I'm a writer, so yeah, to see whatever I've written published somewhere,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I just keep revisiting it, whether it's a blog, it's an article, or it's a caption that I've written. If it's written well, I can like reread it at least 100 times. So
Yeah.
completely resonate with that. And you know when we talk about the products that you've designed at Ware, so they kind of induce this sense of joy, that it's very interactive in terms of how you can set it up or how you can style it and the ways you can use it. It's really up to the user's imagination and the ways they can kind of play with it. So was that intentional, or what was your inspiration to kind of have that kind of modularity in your products?
So yeah, you got it spot on, and I'm happy that you actually see that aspect of Ware.
Yeah.
Like I told you before, right? I wanted to design a product that people actually like interact with. So like from day one, we even named each product. Like they all have these really cute names like Pod and Luna, and like I wanted them to feel very personal.
Yeah.
And I think that like it almost happened initially. It happened almost unintentionally that almost everything we make at Ware can be mixed and matched and used together.
Yeah.
And then when I started noticing it, I really started enjoying that, because it's like I create one thing, but my consumer, like I would say, but the customer is showing me 10 different ways of interpreting it, and that brings so much joy to me.
Yeah.
And it also helps me like come up with newer ideas, right? And I think this is something that I don't have an answer to. A lot of people have asked me, like, why does everything at Ware like either fit or stack or like, I think that's just something I enjoy.
Yeah.
That's a mathematical structure that I like having
Yeah.
as a starting point, because we are an independent design studio, right? So there's no real brief when we start designing something other than the brief that I set. And of course, like market demand and all of that.
Got
But
it.
from the design angle, it kind of gives me a slight structure to design the collection around and like know when to stop. Otherwise you can just keep going on. It's like having a blank canvas. So that modularity and the stackability, or just the thought of it as an ecosystem, helps me take a call on, are we done? Are we ready? Is this good? Is it bad?
Oh wow, it's a framework that you've set for yourself.
Yeah, it's a framework.
Yeah, because as you said, you can keep working and refining on something and it can end up as something completely different. But yeah, as an entrepreneur, you have to...
You want to, and even as a designer, sometimes if the design process gets stretched so long, you lose faith
Yeah.
And as a designer, you're never going to think you're done, you know? So I've learned this the hard way because I think for 2 years we launched nothing.
Yeah.
And we had like 60 products sitting as
Wow.
prototypes.
Yeah.
Because I just dragged them so long that I got bored of the idea by the end of it. And then, you start picking such silly faults. And since the last 2 years, we have just been working on those ideas. I'm like, no, we're going to take each and every one to the finish line.
Yeah.
Because when you get there, the magic is just about to begin. When the customer holds it in their hand, they are thinking like 10 other things that you didn't even think about. So at least get it till that line.
Yeah.
You know, and luckily for us, we don't actually like mass produce anything. We do like small batch production. And the definition of small has obviously increased over time, but it's still small batch production, right?
Yeah.
So that gives us a lot of room to like make mistakes, fix them. Because we're doing a offbeat product, so we have to be okay with like not having all the answers in the first go.
And how is it that you balance the entrepreneur and the designer in you? Because you were talking about products being on the shelf for like 2 years, but then now kind of maybe the entrepreneurial side of you was just like, no, we need to take this to market, see it to the finish line. So how is it that you, with now so much experience, kind of satisfy both sides of your brain, the left and the right?
Oh my god, I think that is like the hardest part. I guess I'm gonna actually, I think the entrepreneurial side of me is kept in check by my husband because he's a finance guy. So you can imagine.
Yeah.
And I am like, I would say 90% creative, right?
Yeah.
So he kind of pushes me, and he has pushed me in the last few years to like focus on the numbers as well.
Yeah.
But I've realized that the year I was stuck was the year I was also grappling with the numbers. And that was not helping me make any decisions. Like Ware has been a very creative company. Like our products have been creative first,
Yeah.
and like everything else later.
Yeah.
And I think that's what helped us grow so organically. It's not like I did much, right? Like we just made a unique product and people started seeing it. We showed our work and we got out there. So I at that point where I was just frustrated of 1 year of like just working on the math, how do I make this business profitable, and like nothing was being able to be done because no creative project can be viewed through that lens in the first shot.
Yeah.
I realized that like I need to look back to what I did in the beginning that got us moving so quickly, and I have shifted to that mindset. So I do track our numbers. Like I've set up like good dashboards and stuff to see what's moving, what's not moving. I'm getting better at it every day. I would say I'm not at all an expert on that front. But I try to like let my creative voice have the veto vote even today, because I think that that's what made our brand what it is. And if I want to stay true to it and I want to stay true to myself, I need to hear that first.
Yeah.
And then kind of make the numbers work around that.
So now that you have evolved so much as an entrepreneur and as a designer, what is a typical product journey look like? Like you have a concept in your head to it coming out, to the first prototype coming out, to it hitting the shelves. What is that entire journey like now?
So what I've done now to like help me make quicker decisions in terms of like how to get a product market faster and how to make sure that like it is fitting in all the boxes of making sense as a business as well. So we have like, I have actually made a few templates. Like for example, if we ever design a dinnerware collection, like there are 15 product categories that we should look into making and make sure that the collection has all of those.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not just driven by, oh, I want to make a plate, but I don't have a bowl or a cup or whatever, right? So we make these 15 product categories. So currently what we've done is we have kind of decided the categories in which we're going to work on for the next 1 year.
Okay.
So now any ideas that we have, because ideas at Ware start off very randomly. If you watch our reels, you'll know. Like, we get inspired by like very everyday objects and moments. So it's like first there is this moment of something happening. Like I've seen a pattern and suddenly I can see this pattern turning into objects.
Yeah.
And I don't know what objects I'm making, right? So there is this conceptual inspiration and then there is the product category. Now that we have a category list, at least I'm not confused on where to apply this inspiration.
Yeah.
So we just move into like taking this concept and being like, okay, now how can this be used to like create any of the products within these categories, like a collection of cups and mugs or a dinner set or serveware. and how do we expand this concept into this.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is like too ambiguous, but that's like the process is a little ambiguous.
Yeah.
Earlier I tried to structure it, but I realized that we don't start off as like, oh, I was inspired by like a leaf and then I turned this leaf into, it's not so structured, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like I had this thought, so I made this joinery mock-up and I kept it on the table, and then I came back to it a month later. So a lot of the ideas are actually shelved when they come.
Yeah.
And then as they start making sense, we keep developing them. But that being said, we have a shelf of like 50 ideas, you know. So I know that we have a good momentum running.
Got it.
And we're able to pick up things and, you know, start developing them. Also, the journey of like a product going from idea to an actual product on the shelf is pretty long. Like, I don't know what people think it is, but it's like, it could be 6 months to a year easy.
Of course.
Because, of course, during the design journey, you end up tweaking things a lot. Then you test it out and you're like, okay, I need this to be bigger, smaller. It's not working in a certain way. That's one thing. And then the second part is, I mean, production, right? Because we work a lot with shapes.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the X and Zero cups that you might have seen, they have those fin-like legs.
Yeah.
That's like a manufacturing nightmare. That one cup goes in like 6 different hands to be made the way I want it to be made.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You know, and no one really wants, a manufacturing process is not lean for a design like that.
Correct.
So we have to work a lot on the design journey is one thing, and then the designing your production journey is a whole other thing. You know?
Yeah.
So that takes time.
It's very fascinating how you're very comfortable with letting things be. Like you mentioned how some ideas are shelved for a couple of months and then you come back to them. Some people get very uncomfortable with just something is lying around, or, you know, that anxiety of like, oh my God, this is going to waste, this, you know, what if this investment doesn't come into fruition? But I think for you, because, you know, you've experimented around, or you've kind of you're very okay with the ambiguity that comes with design, so you can like let it breathe, and then once you know it's the right time, you'll take action which is like aligned to you know, see it through.
Honestly, I love that you've put it up that way. Because in reality, I think I've come to accept that things fall apart. So we work on like 2 things or 3 things simultaneously. And because it was really frustrating when like it's the one thing you're working on and it falls apart in the middle. And you have to come back to it. So we work on like 2 parallel projects, and I know, you know, if I'm working on 3 things, like 1 or maybe even 2 might not work out. So I think that that's just something with time that, you know, I've come to accept. And I guess like time also teaches you a lot of things, like just because it did not work out now does not mean it won't work out later.
True. Yeah.
Right? Like, so something that was shelved for a year, actually when the idea came in, or like, I don't know, the shift happened, or we found a manufacturing unit that was capable of working on it, it didn't take so long to come into the shelf anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that that's like a more philosophical learning, but that's just how things work, right? And if I'm in denial, I'm constantly anxious. And I feel like as a creative, you can't be anxious.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that energy is just...
It has to come from a place of joy.
It has to come from a place of joy, exactly. So you can't mix the business stress with your creative energy. Like, I feel like just messes everything up.
And there's no formal education for it. Like, you can do, I mean, you can study at the best design school and you can study at the best business school, but like, at the intersection of that is very hard to find.
Yeah, I think the best form of education is actually just taking action. I think I used to take a lot of time to take a lot of action.
Yeah.
But I've learned that, okay, the faster I move, the quicker I will learn what's working and what's not working. And we are so fine, like, you know, we're so trained and tuned to think that you can only learn in college. I think for really long as a creative entrepreneur, I was grappling with that insecurity that, oh, I'm not an MBA and like, I don't have a business education. But these are just things we're telling ourselves. I have access to all the books out there on entrepreneurship, on leadership, on how to, you know, build structures. And now you have AI and teach you whatever you want to learn, right?
Absolutely.
So I think there's no excuse, because if you're running a business, you are never going to know enough. And you have to be able to accept that and to embrace it and to enjoy it.
And then through this journey of learning, when did you realize that, okay, I need a physical manifestation of the brand that Ware is becoming? I need a store, I need a retail presence where people can experience it the way I want them to experience it. How did that come about?
I think that, as we kept, because Ware is like built quite organically. I didn't have like a plan in mind or anything, right? But I think as we grew and we had more products, we started noticing a pattern in what happens. Like the patterns that you noticed
Right.
were not something I intentionally built. We started noticing them in hindsight that, okay, things are modular, they always have this element of play.
Yeah.
And so we built our brand philosophy around that, which is that things, we call it what if, why not, which is that every time a crazy idea comes to your mind that starts the what if,
Yeah.
we say why not.
Okay.
And we give it a shot, no matter how silly it starts. Like no one says, oh, this is dumb, they're like, why not? And you take it forward till it starts making sense. And I think that that's the beginning point of most of our design collections and everything, right? And I think that, basically I think after like 4 years maybe of building Ware, I realized that I need to really structure how I'm thinking about this brand, and like kind of tie everything together so that actually I was pregnant and I knew that I won't be around so much, and I have to kind of remove things that are in my head and in my gut and make them into a set of rules or guidelines that other creatives can follow. And I think that my being pregnant was the turning point where I thought that I need to give my brand more of a personality that can be understood by many more designers and not just me. Like I need to kind of give them the training for their gut to kick in.
Yeah, like take Ware and like spin it in your own way.
Yeah,
And
like give them the ground rules. Like how can I make what I'm thinking into like a replicable structure of thinking? It's not like I've done it 100%, but I think a lot of it, has been put into action. And I mean, obviously, what I'm thinking is also evolving, right? But I want other creatives to also have a voice, and like I want my product designers to also have their style that kicks in. So just having these brand guidelines has really helped us.
Yeah.
So I think that time when I was pregnant was when I set up most of the systems in place,
Yeah.
even for the creative aspect of Ware, and we got the clarity of what the brand can feel like. And that's when we decided to like redo our space, because we had a store, but it was like our studio that we turned into a store. It
Right.
wasn't anything, right?
Yeah.
But then I knew like what I wanted the space to feel like, very free, very clean, so that whatever product you put can like pop in there, and have these interactive elements and make people feel curious. That don't make people feel like we picked up something from like China and we're selling it. Like, that make them think that, oh, these guys actually designed this.
They thought about it. There's
Yeah.
actual thought behind it.
Yeah, like I didn't want it to just be like a pristine space. I wanted it to be a space where that actually all of this comes from a design studio and now it's a product. Because a lot of spaces in Raghuvanshi actually,
Yeah.
like, I mean, they are imported brands and stuff, and we want to have an international look.
Yeah.
Right? We want to present ourselves in a very nice and clean way.
Correct. Yeah.
But I don't want people to think that we're picking up product, because we are designing it from scratch.
Yeah. Like locally made, locally
Designed.
fleshed, locally
Yeah.
ideated, everything.
And presented in a way that just matches global standards, because why not?
Yeah, of course. We are like, India is competing on the world platform now. So, of course, why
Yeah.
wouldn't you want to bring that philosophy into something that you're creating as well?
100%. And you never know, I want us to be global, so whenever it happens, we should be ready.
Yes, and definitely, I'm affirming that into existence.
Thank
It will
you.
happen for you for sure.
Thank you so much.
So, what was it like to fulfill your first bulk order? Like some, institution like a restaurant or a hotel has contacted Ware to have, have Ware's products and at their touch point. What was that like?
Oh my God. So I remember I think one of our first restaurant orders was from this restaurant in Raipur. And it was really special to me because it's my like nanny house, so it was quite exciting. But oh my God. So at that point, I used to take all our production batches. Like I used to physically be there at the factory glazing each and every piece that we made. And all the more for our first restaurant order, I wanted everything to be perfect, right? And I was there when we packed it. I was there till the tea, like till it dispatched. And you won't believe it, 50% of that order broke in transit.
Oh.
Can you believe it? Like they opened the boxes and half the plates were broken.
Oh my god.
And Uma, I think I have properly cried because you can imagine, when something is such a big deal, you want it to be perfect.
Of course, yeah.
But I remember that day I spent the morning crying because I was like, shit, what are we going to do? And also ceramic has like a long turnaround time. So I would have to I would be late on the order. Not just that my pieces broke, they would need more time to be made again. But I think I was just really lucky because my husband was so sweet. He was like, okay, this is just the first. You have so many more to go. Let's figure out how to make our packaging robust. And so we went to Good Earth. This is so shady. But, he was, let's go to Good Earth and let's buy a set of plates. And let's ask them to show us how they pack it. Because they ship all over the country, right? And I was like, can we do that? And he's like, yeah, we're going to buy the plates. And so we went there and we actually, I know that this sounds what it is, but I needed help urgently and I needed the faith and confidence that, yeah, this can be done.
Yeah.
And maybe I didn't get it right, so what? So I think I was really lucky that he was there in that moment and, we took the action needed.
Yeah.
And, we did so many packaging trials after that for like a whole, I think for another 15 days where we would pack boxes of plates, reject plates, and like throw them from the staircase and check how many broke. And, that entire iterative approach, I wouldn't have been so aggressive on it, right, if this disaster didn't happen. Because this was so heartbreaking. I was like, I will figure it out, nothing's going to break again. So that order was, I'll never forget it because that was just like, you can imagine what it was. But it led to us figuring out how to pack our products so well that we actually have a break-free shipping guarantee.
Yeah.
Like,
Definitely,
after that, we have shipped all over the world with a guarantee that if it breaks, because we're so sure it won't, we'll replace it for free. And we still have like a 0.5% breakage rate. We're that good at packing our product now, So I think that every big milestone comes with its own learning.
Of
and
course,
of course, we then replenish the plates and, fulfill the order again properly. And nothing broke this time. But I think it was just something that changed a mindset for us.
And that tendency to be hard on yourself after the first thing you've tried something and it's not worked out and you're just like, yeah, this is it, this is the end of the thing, I'm giving up, I'm not trying anymore. But you wouldn't do that with another person. Like how your husband objectively looked at the situation. He said, okay, you tried it for the first time, it failed, now you have to try for the second time. That's actually a very big blessing in disguise.
It was like you need that person at the right time, right? Like these things are literally just blessings only. I don't think we can take the credit for them ever.
And so many of your product inspirations are like from everyday objects. You spoke about, maybe like you see foldable sketch pens or something, like you see a building which is sort of, doesn't have a
curvy.
Like a curvy exterior. So what goes off in your mind when you see some of something very eclectic or something different than its surroundings, and then how do you like play with it in your mind?
I think that I was thinking about why does this happen, but even as a child I was very I was always labeled the daydreamer. And but that's because I don't know, I look at things and I imagine them to be something else. And I mean, no one ever stopped me from being that daydreamer, which was a great thing. So I like to, and luckily with Ware, I was able to actually take those daydream kind of ideas and turn them into actual products. And I feel like every time you take this thought and you kind of, you see something the way it is and then you build it the way you want it to be. And then when you see that object in reality and you realize how different it is from the source, it gives you the confidence to pursue more of these vague ideas. It also gives you it gives you that encouragement to remain curious. So, I think, just this cycle of giving an idea a chance and then actually seeing it take shape and closing it at an end product and then seeing where it began and where it's landed has just made me very open to doing this so much more.
Yeah.
And I think that curiosity maybe is just innate because my mom is really creative, and my father is not like, he's not a creative in the conventional sense, but he loves design. So on our holidays, like, you know, my father and I will always look at things and be like, "Ye kaise bana hoga?" We look under a table and be like, "Oh, how is this fixed?" You know. So growing up, I just noticed all these things because of them. You know. My mother's always teaching me like all these different hand building techniques, which actually added up in the future. You know, like even simple things like making like stocking flowers or like glass, like craft activities. They make you so open to how to give shape to ideas. Like they become your set of tools. You know.
And
So
looking at something from a lens of curiosity and kind of being okay with the outcome either way, like not being attached to the outcome
Yeah.
but being attached to the process and the learning that you derive from it. I think that's the key kind
Yeah.
of that sets you apart for success, because it's you have to be open to the idea that I am going to fail. You have to be open to
Yeah.
the idea that not everything I think is 100% spot on.
Yeah.
But you know, we have this demand on the outcome that it has to be the way I have envisioned it to be, and when it's not, you know,
Yeah.
we also tend to lose confidence
In
within ourselves. Yeah.
But I think I'd read this or I'd seen a TED talk a while ago, and he said, you know, he made this statement saying that they're like, just because you are not your idea, you can have a bad idea, but that doesn't make you a bad creative.
Yeah.
You know, so the more you can detach yourself from that image, because as creators we attach ourselves so much. Like even I think I used to attach myself to Ware in the sense that anything that goes wrong with Ware is like a personal disaster, you know.
Yeah.
Like that the restaurant order going wrong was like a personal meltdown, like
Yeah.
a failure on me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if my business fails, I am a failure. No, that's not true. Your business failed, but you were the person who tried, and you can try again. The same thing goes with our ideas, right? And I think the moment you detach, right, you'll give a lot more crazy sounding ideas a chance.
Yeah.
Because you're no longer thinking, oh, am I sounding stupid? Is this too silly to say out loud? And that, I think, brings me to another very important component of this journey, which is surrounding yourself with the right people in your team.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the culture that you build. So at Ware, like, I learned this the hard way that I never share my ideas with just anyone. Not out of secrecy, but I know how susceptible I am to judgment. I take it too personally.
Yeah.
So I don't share it with anyone. Like, you know, because I share it with people who will not judge me. So my product design team is usually working the closest with me, and I'm like, I can speak anything in front of them. I'm not embarrassed in front of them. Like, I don't care, because they don't, like, I choose the people who will not judge me for thinking in a certain way. You know, creativity has to start in a very safe space, so that then, like, you need people who will be like, who will jump on board when you say something that sounds insane.
Yeah.
You know, when I say that, oh, look guys, I saw the squished lemon, and now let's make a bowl in this shape.
Wow.
No one is judging me. They're like, yeah, oh yeah, what if it's a lamp? They're like, can we bring some more lemons in? You know, like...
Yeah, to be truly seen and heard, that what you're
Yeah.
saying is just like not unimaginable. It's totally doable and it's totally
doable,
valid.
right? Now the same situation, imagine I walk into a room where I show this squished lemon and someone just laughs at me.
Yeah. And then you can never
What's wrong
open
with
up.
her?
Yeah, again.
And then you're just embarrassed and you're not going to open up ever. Yeah, you're never
Yeah.
going to open up again. So I think that, you know, to like really be your creative self, you need to be around people who make you feel safe,
Yeah.
who make you feel like, yeah, sure, I mean, nothing is too absurd. Like, say what's on your mind. So I kind of keep all our ideas in a creative bubble. And then when we give it enough shape, where it starts making sense to us and where, you know, it becomes palatable by an outsider,
Yeah.
that's when we even approach manufacturers and all, because the manufacturers are the first people to be like, ye to itna illogical hai, ye nahi ho sakta, ye badlo, you know, remove this.
Yeah.
But you need to give your idea enough shape that you can stick to your guns and be like, no, this is what I want, and this is what I want you to make for me,
Yeah.
and I will help you figure out how to make it, and I'm okay if the result is wrong.
My God, the manufacturers must be, you know.
That is the hardest part.
Yeah, they must be looking at your name pop up on their phone and they must be like, ab kya chahiye
फिर
isko?
से आ गई. Yeah, the factory. But like, that's why in the factories that we work with, they're all, I've realized that the owners and all are always like, very creatively inclined people.
Ah.
That's why they choose to go through this whole turmoil with us. Like, we've been very lucky, and it takes us very long to find the right partners.
Of course, yeah.
Because they need to have that spark.
Yeah.
If they're just doing this as a business, they'll be like, get out. Like they need to enjoy it with us.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course it needs to make business sense, but that perseverance to like actually get us to that point where it makes sense.
Again, through the lens of curiosity, and if you find someone who is matching those parameters, then definitely the product would take even like something maybe even more
than what we imagine.
Exactly. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you need to work with like-minded people. That's like very, very, very important. I think not anyone can, like that environment of surrounding yourself with the right people is a very big player in how successful you can be in giving your idea shape, the way you want it to be.
And how does your financier husband fit into this?
Oh my God.
Everything must be so analytical and logical with him. So how does that work?
Yeah, I have just stopped. No, I think that, Rishabh, my husband, has actually helped me to like, look at all the accounts and finance in a very structured way. In the sense, he's like, okay, you don't like this, right? So make a system so that you can do it faster. And he actually like taught me how to use Excel and like, how to approach numbers and everything and how to systematize that part so that it's the easiest part to like look at. And I constantly approached any of those kind of like business model problems and all with that in mind, that how do I make it so easy? How do I treat this as like a design problem only? So like I always like, I take all my ideas and before I show them to my husband, I never show my husband any ideas because all our bestsellers have been rejected by Rishabh. If he rejects it, it's going to be a bestseller, So I never show him my creative ideas. I always like turn them into like a business model plan with all the numbers and go like, this is the worst case, this is the best case, I'm going to go ahead.
Yeah.
And then I get his thoughts on it, when I have a lot of, like I have some clarity. So I think that like earlier, I think in the beginning, Rishabh and I used to have such big arguments on numbers, like in terms of, taking risk for like a like a change in creative direction or anything. And I think that was mostly because I was never prepared. Like I was never doing the math. I was not calculating, okay, what is my cost going to be like? What do I lose when something fails? Now that being questioned by him, I realized, okay, you know what, let me just do the math. And if I'm aware, the risk is a calculated risk.
Yeah, it frees you off the anxiety as well.
Yeah,
like at a later stage, what if this is a bottleneck?
Yeah, like at a later stage, realizing that you started a new vertical and this, like you spent so much money on it and now it's failing. But instead, if you do the math in advance, that okay, fine, I'm going to hire a team, I'm going to build this product, I'm going to try to attempt it in this way.
Yeah.
You know how much you're going to lose and can you offset that with what you're going to make in your other set aspect of your business.
Absolutely.
So I think having him has been a good blessing because all my arguments with my husband on Ware's MIS reports and our balance sheet have actually helped me become much better at financial planning.
Your arguments must be comments on Google Docs.
Oh my God. My team is so used to having us have these debates in office.
And now I think Ware has done you as a designer, as an entrepreneur have done a full 360 and have come back to marble, where your family roots lie. So what was that journey like, and how did it feel like to interpret marble in your own in your own way?
I think that now I always wanted to set up Ware as like my own identity and not so because my father has been in the design space for so many years, right? So it was very easy to like get connected to him, which is not a bad thing, but I just didn't want to piggyback in the beginning. I really wanted to know whether my product is actually liked by people for what it is and not because I'm his daughter or, because of some connection. So I think that validation was very important for me. And over the years with the response that we've got for Ware's products, so many of my father's friends buy Ware and they don't even know it's my brand. And I think that's like the best feeling in the world. So I think that, in the beginning, I was also hesitant to use marble for that very reason, that I thought people think that,
Yeah.
I'm just, it's so easy. Which honestly, in hindsight, there's nothing wrong with doing something that's easy. Like, you should definitely do it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think I just wanted to get comfortable with having my own design language and having my own identity before I touched a material that, might appear as though it's just taken for granted. But it's not, honestly, because I've just started working a lot more with marble now. It's a beautiful material. I think it's so untouched, actually, especially in the way that, people approach marble in a very set way. And as a product designer, being surrounded by marble my entire life, and, like, traveling with my father and seeing it in so many different ways, I realized that I actually have a lot of exposure to what can be done with marble.
Yeah.
That's why now with Ware, we've actually started a new segment called the Atelier, where we are exploring marble for like collectible pieces. I don't think marble will ever be like a, very functional product.
Yeah.
I want to experiment a lot with, what can we create with marble? How can we change, like, how can we interpret the manufacturing approach when you're building something with marble? And how can we really push the boundaries, Because I think that's the only thing that makes sense for me to do in marble. Because the obvious can be done by my dad.
Yeah.
And by like anyone in the family, I guess.
Right.
Right? So I'm very excited. I think now I no longer have that insecurity, of of knowing whether I, as a designer, am worthy, like, or my style has its own voice. I think we know that, like, Ware has been, like, we've been so lucky with Ware. It's grown so well organically. And we have such amazing customers, who, for a category like home decor, who comes back, right? We have such a high returning customer rate.
Yeah.
And people know us for design.
Yeah.
So now I'm very excited to explore marble through my lens of design. And also now I feel like my brand has its own position. So if I do touch marble, it's not going to be like a part of my dad's business.
Yeah. Yeah.
It will just be like, I definitely take a lot of his inputs on our design, because I think that, my dad, my uncle, like it's our family business. They just know the material so well.
Yeah.
They've used it in so many ways. So running ideas through them, taking this, even my brother, he's a part of that business. So definitely I take a lot of input from them. I take all those shortcuts in terms of, the material knowledge, manufacturing techniques, all of that. But it's very different now. Like, I'm very excited to explore marble now. Like, I'm no longer thinking of all those other, other things. And yeah.
And I've seen one or two of your videos where you have introduced marble, or your new cloth collection, and you talk about marble in such a fascinating way that you're so captivated by how it's like a photograph taken by nature at one point in time. So you have that passion, so it would be holding yourself back if you are doing yourself an injustice if you don't explore that direction, especially from a design lens.
Yeah, 100%. Because, I grew up surrounded by such amazing marble. And I think Elegant also specializes in like offbeat marble, like they bring that to the table.
Yeah.
And every time I look at it, I can't help but imagine what all it could be, right?
Right.
So I thought that at this stage with like, where we are, we are at a point where I can afford to explore something new. My business is more set, like our recurring, like we have a good set rolling sales and structure in place, right? So now I can explore a product category that's new, a little risky, all of that. So
as you're thinking at this stage about Ware's growth, in what dimensions are you thinking? Are you thinking new product categories? Are you thinking new touch points like maybe hotels or bigger chains? How many dimensions can this grow in?
So currently, we have a pretty vast collection of like ceramic tableware.
Yeah.
So we're not looking at like growing that as much. We already have 2-3 collections that are still stuck in the pipeline, so those will come out. But I'm very keen on exploring other categories, like expanding into the home now. So like the tables that you place your wear on, like smaller objects within your space, and really exploring materials, trying different techniques and trying to come up with a offbeat output. So I would say like a slightly more artistic product that is implemented through design. correct? So I'm very keen on doing that. Like I'm trying to take a step towards my long-term plan that I told you, right? Which is where we're very experimental as a studio.
Yeah.
But because we have a set segment running, right? So within where we have like 4 categories and 4 verticals under which our product sells. One is for the home, like you'll purchase dinner sets and like all of our offerings, like our decor pieces for your home. The second is we set up a system in place to actually grow our hotel and restaurant business last year. So last year, as of last year, we used to have 2 restaurants on board. Now we have 50 plus restaurants on board. So we made a system in place where we are able to service restaurants while maintaining our product quality and our brand image and like our positioning. So we're not in every restaurant, but we're in restaurants that value, you know, good design and high quality and good service.
Yeah.
So we have grown that bit, and obviously like if you service people well, there's word of mouth and it keeps growing.
Definitely.
And the third category is for gifting. So Ware is a very giftable product.
Yeah.
That's something I did not expect. It just happened. We're really giftable. So we're growing in that. I think earlier I was like, why is Ware being gifted so much? And I was trying to work against it. But then I realized that, wait, people clearly like gifting it because it gets used.
Yeah.
You know, it's a usable and giftable product. So now we're embracing that and kind of growing that aspect of the business as well. So these 3 are like my revenue channels. So when I introduce the marble collectibles, there's no pressure of revenue on them. This can be like a good creative outlet, you know.
Got it.
And right now we're experimenting not just with marble actually. We're also experimenting with ceramic in a different light. Because with crockery, I mean, you're never going to pay like an absurd amount for a cup at the end of the day, right? How much can I experiment? And I already do experiment like crazy and the margins end up getting very thin.
Yeah.
So here I want to like, you know, build bigger pieces that are more of a statement and, you know, are more artistically inclined. And I'm able to like have more creative freedom in building out these lines. And there's no pressure on it
Got it.
because revenue is here.
Do you think you're thinking within the home or just more personally usable products because motherhood has kind of made you a little more, I don't know, domesticated or a little more having to introduce that balance of like staying at home versus staying in the studio, and you know, you're just like surrounded by the domesticity of life more?
Yeah, I think actually, honestly, I'm a very like, I like being home. In the sense, I'm not a very extroverted person in general. Like, I like spending time at home or I like traveling.
Yeah.
I love doing that, but I'm not like, you know, social in general. And definitely, I think motherhood has impacted every aspect of my life in the most amazing ways.
Yeah.
Because I, as a designer, used to be such a control freak, and as an entrepreneur too. Like I explained to you my first Horeca order, right? I made each piece and I packed everything. And I made sure, you know, I was like lifting the cartons with my team to get it into the truck. So I was in it to that extent. And being, like I told you, when I was pregnant, I realized that I need to have people who align with me and who care about Ware as much as I do. So from the very onset of it, I think motherhood actually taught me delegation, actually taught me how to be a better leader. I mean, every day I strive to do that, you know, to create a good culture where, you know, the creative wonder, all of it can actually continue to sustain no matter whether I'm in the office or not. So I think, and like having Mishika in my life now, like I used to be the person who used to be at the studio on a Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, like that was my happy place. And now I actually like being home. So it has been a bit of a pull, I think. But I guess it has also made me spend more time at home, which also has made me think beyond the table. And like, I keep looking at things and like going like, okay, what if this was like that? And made me open to explore other categories. So, and I guess also we shifted to my husband and I and my daughter moved into our own home.
Okay.
And that was a game changer because now I'm like, everything has to be designed by us. I think when you're your own consumer, it's so much easier and harder, I guess, but to make mistakes, to try new things, you know. So we're doing that now.
And as we wrap this up, I just wanted to understand how you think of Ware as more than a brand and more than a philosophy. But I mean, we've touched upon it, but just to kind of crystallize those thoughts further, if Ware was a person, what would its personality traits be? What would it be like?
I mean, this is what I aspire for Ware to be, and I hope it is that. I feel like Ware would be like that really cozy person, you know, that person that you feel so comfortable around, and that you can really truly be yourself.
Yeah.
And I have that written in our brand manual.
Yeah.
It should be like, it should feel like home. And I say this more from even the lens of my team, because that's where everything originates, right? My team is who makes everything happen. And it's so important for them to feel like their authentic self at the studio.
Yeah.
So I feel like Ware as a brand needs to have that emotion. And even when our customers deal with us, like, I am so like adamant that our sales team should never push anyone to buy anything they don't need. What's the point of our creation if it's not going to be used, you know? So even the way we approach our customers, the way we create our customer service experience, no one should be stuck with a product they don't want. No, sorry, that's not happening.
Yeah.
Whether that is financially inefficient for us, we will still take it back, because you know, if you buy Ware and if it's sitting in your home, you should have a good relationship with it, is to whatever extent I can control, right?
Yeah.
So I want Ware to have that personality, like a very cozy, very free, very bright and optimistic, you know, like, and very curious, like that daydreamy child that, like, you know, is willing to explore, to like go off track and have fun. So I hope we manage to retain that.
And if you had to encapsulate the philosophy of Ware Innovations, what would that be?
I think it would be through the words "what if," and when you look at when you hear them, not "what if it goes wrong, what if it fails," but like the poem that goes "what if you fly," right?
Yeah.
And every time, I think the core philosophy behind Ware should and always should be, you know, to retain that sense of wonder and to give your ideas a chance.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much for, you know, letting us pick your mind and being so reflective and intentional about building the brand and your journey.
Thank
And
you.
just it felt like I got to know you more than you. I got to know Ware as a person.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me here.
Of course.